a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for being here. I hope everybody's doing well. Let's give it a few minutes. Let's see who joins. And let's chat about Freemasonry. Okay, let's give it some time. Let's see who joins. We pinned that March 28th, 2026 from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Windsor Masonic Temple. We have got our, it's going to be a blast. We're going to be rocking out a community services fair. So please make sure to check it out. What's going on? Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. How are you doing, No Filter Boss? I'm always good. Well, I appreciate being here first, nonetheless. And, if you are looking for work, I know it's tough right now, you'll find it. Always chilling is good. We're giving a bit of time. We're just going to wait to see who joins. Please take a moment, as always. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and thank you so much for being here. I do have to take a break about half an hour in because I'm in the middle of doing my laundry. Nice. What do you do? Being self-employed is tough. Nice. Do you work at a tattoo shop or do you like work out of your own place? Hello, Reese Graves. How's it going? Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. I got a studio in Toronto. That's awesome. It's got to be expensive. Real estate in Toronto is probably not cheap, but very cool. Traveling to the USA is very cool as well. Keep up the good work. You would have to. I cannot imagine how expensive or not expensive real estate is in Toronto. I got paid $5, got appraised for 2,000. Nice. Hey man, there are a lot of people nowadays who are finding out you can make a ton of money by going to garage sales. So that is very, very cool. Oh, right now for 5 people, that's not terrible then. 5 divided by 8, that's about 175. Not terrible. I mean, still, when I say not terrible, it's still a lot. So we talk a lot about Freemasonry and economic conditions. You can't separate the two, right? As much as people like to think that you can, it's just the case that you cannot. Toronto rate is terrible. I mean, I especially feel bad for Masonic lodges who are busy trying to make their rent work in Toronto. Hello, Rafael Lopez. How's it going? Thank you for being here. I hope you'll take a moment to hit the like button and the subscribe button. Consider some super chats. consider becoming a Patreon. We have another special offer. I don't know if anybody saw it. I just had to move my cat for 1 second to show you guys. If you are interested in joining our Patreon, never my favorite sport, this is my mom's favorite sport. If you want to become a Patreon member or give a $10 super chat, I'll send you some foreign coins. I've been lucky enough to travel. Part of traveling is you come back home with a ton of coins, none of which can be exchanged. So become a Patreon member and I will send you some of those coins. $10 mark. Hello, Smokey. I still need to know when you can take part in the live stream on the 29th. I do have a Masonic funeral I need to attend on the 29th. So if it's in the evening, it'd have to be later in the evening than normal, probably closer to 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 your time. I didn't see it. Did you just send it today? I'll double check. I'll look after this. Freemasonry is apolitical, David, which means Freemasonry is not going to tell you who you should or shouldn't vote for. Rather, it's up to you to decide. So you decide who you want to vote for. Freemasonry is not going to tell you one way or the other. It may encourage within you certain ethical considerations, which you can use when making your decision, but there are left-wing, right-wing, conservative, democratic, liberal, NDP, and everything in between Freemasons. Well, I've been streaming a lot, Cyber Potatoes, so maybe you've seen me stream before. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, Cyber Potato. Okay, I haven't looked yet, so I'll get back to you. We're going to keep giving it a bit more time. We're just going to wait to see who joins. As always, if you're new to the stream, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry? I got to take a break in about half an hour. I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of my co-host because I need to run down and grab my laundry. Ooh, so you're having a very busy week, opening every day. I wish you best of luck with that. I would be absolutely exhausted. I don't think I can handle watching a game for 3 days. That would be a bit much. Hello, Randy. Thank you for being here. So today I simply wanted to come on and, as with everything else, remind people, please, please, please take a moment. If you can make it, if you live in Windsor, Essex, join us for the Community Services Fair, March 28th, 2026. 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Windsor Masonic Temple. Also, Dad, so the Masons, don't forget, we have a Zoom meeting tonight for one of my lodges. If you're a member, really, if you're Freemason from anywhere and you're interested in joining us, let me know. It's Freemasonry mostly for men in the sense that the fraternal side is the biggest side, but Freemasonry is not exclusively for men. So there's Freemasonry for men and there's Freemasonry for women. There's Order of Women Freemasons, Order of Eastern Star. Yes, smash that like button and subscribe. We got 5. Although I will say my watch time hours are continuing to go up. For that, I'm grateful. New viewers, I'm getting less new viewers, but I'm getting more people checking out the channel. So. And I know I need to get you your coin. You'll get it on the 28th. So that'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be a really enjoyable couple hours. It's going to be a crazy busy week. I was talking about this before. I've got rest. So tonight I've got a Masonic meeting, and I got two Masonic meetings, one virtual, one in person. The next day I've got something in the morning. Then I've got professional wrestling all day. And so it's going to be a different type of stream on Friday. I can't guarantee I'll be doing the usual 1 p.m. stream. But as soon as I know when I'm streaming and what time and stuff, I will let you guys know. So just Ocean Eyes, one of my favorite songs. So I will be sure to be posting stuff on social media. Again, just follow me on social media so you know what's happening. Saturday the 28th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., we've got that community services fair during the day. And then 9 to 11 a.m. in the morning. And then I've got more wrestling that night. I cannot read Japanese. I cannot, because it's a great song, Ocean Eyes. Ocean Eyes, please hit like and subscribe. It's one of those things where going live during wrestling is not something I could do, but I'm sure I could go live for a couple minutes during the day just to say hello to everybody. So health comes first is incredibly important. That is very true. All right, we're going to keep hanging out, waiting to see who joins. As always, please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Consider a $10 super chat. You'll get yourself some commemorative coins. Hello, Liam Hammer. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. Sometimes, yeah, auto translation does happen, so. My name is Cameron. What is your name? My last name is not Gordon. Last name, Adamson. Thank you, Smokey. That's very kind of you. But I know you're working incredibly hard, so for heaven's sakes, I appreciate you sending me money, but don't send me too much. You should be spending the money on yourself. You work hard for it. Hello, Courtney. Thank you for being here. It's good. We got some interesting names for it, so that was fun. And yeah, it doesn't rattle anymore, which is quite nice. I should do a poll question. What do you want to call my new chair? I'll pick 4 of my favorites, and then I'll make that a poll question on my personal account. All right, we're going to give it some more time. We're just going to wait to see who joins. I do have to go get my laundry soon, so I'll be taking a bit of a break. But please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, please let me know. We're just going to hang out, wait to see who finds me. According to CNN, U.S. mortgage rates rise to highest level in more than 6 months as Iran war fuels economic uncertainty. I was really happy with my stream yesterday when I talked about or shared that story from CNN regarding individuals cutting back on quote unquote unnecessary expenses due to the rising prices of gas. One of my favorite quotes, and I put this on social media, was no, haven't named the chair yet, was from I can't find it now. Was from. Here it was. It was from a Billingsley of 35 years from Jacksonville, Florida. She said, "I go exactly where I need to go, and I can't go anywhere else due to rising cost of gas." So the question is Freemasonry somewhere you need to go, right? It's and if it's not, how many people are going to choose to stop going because they want to focus on saving money for the necessities? At what point does that become a problem within Freemasonry? Name of your chair, Eleanor, like the last car in the movie Gone in 60 Seconds. That's not bad. I haven't seen that movie for ages, but I did really like it when it came out. So I'm not a huge action movie fan, but that was one I actually did enjoy. So maybe I will have to name her Eleanor. My last chair was named Loki because my it was named Loki because my I worked at the jail, and one of the inmates, when I got the chair, said I should call it Loki. So I called it Loki to keep her happy because she used to get angry. I love Gone in 60 Seconds. Great film. One of Nicolas Cage's better ones. Nicolas Cage had like a murderer's row of really fun films in the 90s. I remember those days. So we got hearts. That's Smokey. Thank you so much for that. We're going to give it a bit more time. We're just going to wait to see who joins. Once again, please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm grateful for everybody being here. I hope you're all doing very well. I'm not from a state. I'm from Canada. Born and raised in Manitoba, currently live in Ontario. I've not, but I heard it's good. But that brings up something interesting. I've talked a lot in the past. I think within Freemasonry, one of the things that we should really focus on is communication in diverse languages. Obviously and famously, with Wind Talkers, it's about code breakers, right? So multiple languages, the value of being able to speak in multiple languages. And so, yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I think indigenous languages as well is a really important thing that we within Freemasonry can promote and support. Um, I remember seeing Drive Angry in the theaters, and I enjoyed it very much. It's close enough to horror that I really enjoyed it. It's got that scary movie, action movie kind of combination that I really love. Canada, greatest country in the world. Part of it is because we have the greatest neighbors in the world. No worries, Josh. I'm just happy here. I'm just hanging out. Again, normally this is almost more like a Friday stream. I'm just chilling, talking to people, seeing who joins. No specific comments, no specific discussion. So, yeah, I am a traveler. I've been a Freemason for about 20 years, which is crazy. I think it's been that long. I started starting out promotions to promote the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located, and to talk about, to share stories of Masonic interest. So, Bar, are you a traveler? Are you a Freemason? Lest, Leonardo? I mean, I cannot imagine. Responded to what? Drive Anger? That's a great film. There's a level 2 cyclone. I mean, I'm really sorry, Let's, that you're on a cyclone path. I would think that would be quite terrifying. I'll think about it. I'll keep my fingers crossed. It's interesting how many times Freemasonry has actually responded to natural disasters around the world. I think that's a really cool thing. You see that with the fires in Los Angeles, the floods in Texas, forest fires in Alberta, Freemasons stepping in and providing assistance and help to those who need it. Rian, South Africa is awesome. I've done a few interviews with Masons from South Africa. So thank you for being here. Well, first of all, if you're under the age of 18, make sure you have your parents' permission to be on YouTube. Second of all, I'm 42 and I would be terrified of a cyclone. So whether you're 42 or 9 or anything in between, I think being afraid of a cyclone is a pretty reasonable response to have. Alamo, it does suck when that happens. We'll keep our fingers crossed that A, they are able to sell it, and B, they are able to whoever purchases it is able to still use the they're still able to use the building for something Masonic. Or maybe what they could always do is, like, I don't mind, well, I do. What am I trying to say? I never want our buildings to be sold, but if they are sold, it's my hope that whomever purchases the building uses it in a way that respects the original Masonic qualities of it. So, for example, maintains the facade, maybe puts up a plaque talking about the history of the building, how it was Masonic, does some type of discussion on what the building is or was and the unique Masonic features in it. Because sometimes that's all you can do. Sometimes the sale is necessary, but within the idea of the sale, you are able and capable of maintaining the history of the building. A great example of that right now is the Nederlander Theater in Chicago, which was sold, is currently a theater, but they maintained the facade, which still has the square compasses on it, and they still occasionally talk about the history of the building as a Masonic temple before it was sold for a venue for the arts. Are you a playwright? Bar Tardy and Bar, please hit like and please hit subscribe. When you say working on your plays, are you a playwright? Or is it for school? Or are they Masonic plays? Like, there are some Masonic playwrights out there. Well, then join the Scottish Rite and bring in more people and find a way to keep the building. It's also hard to make these, it's very hard when you're not the guy who has to make these decisions, Alamo. So maybe a little bit more understanding for the tough position that a lot of groups are in, including Freemasonry. To catch rank? You mean your degrees? Describing them as plays is a strange way. I mean, they have a theatrical component, but normally they would be called degrees, right? You go through the different degrees: entered apprentice, fellow craft, master mason. In Scottish Rite, you can look at going through more of the plays in some cases. Again, they have a more theatrical feeling to them. I would very much like to avoid tornadoes if I could, and avoid cyclones for that matter. Let's avoid both. You need to calm down, Alamo. You're not the one who... I guess my question would be, what have you done to try to protect the building? If you're so concerned about its sale, did you join? Did you help out there? Did you volunteer there? Did you try to preserve the building? For somebody who, to my knowledge, has not had anything to do with trying to maintain the building, you've been pretty judgmental about the decisions they're making now. because believe me, it is not easy making these decisions. As I try to get my plug sorted out. So maybe you need to calm down a little bit. It's always easy being the guy on the outside. It's not so easy being the guy or the guys who have to make these decisions. So keep that in mind. It would just be so much work to get long hair, and I'm so lazy. I don't think I would be able to take care of it. I can barely make myself shave regularly. It would just be a pain in the butt. Oh, yeah, I mean, I know that there's a place in Texas, I think, called Tornado Alley. I would never want to live in a place called Tornado Alley. So, wherever it is you lived, I'm sorry that happened. That sucks. The most important thing is that you're okay. Um, right? That's the most important thing, is that you're okay. But it still sucks to lose things in a tornado. It's called that in Georgia, Tornado Alley. All right. If anybody ever invites me to live with them or to crash at their place in Tornado Alley, just know the answer is no. Were you part of the temple? Did you argue against it, or do you just complain from the sidelines? Which it seems like it's the latter. I mean, the taxpayers don't prop up clubs, don't prop up Masonic clubs. They're usually self-funded, which means they support themselves through the dues of membership. In some cases, they support themselves through, in some cases, they support themselves through investments that they've made. Sometimes people will leave money to them in their will. Or sometimes they rent out the space. And they could rent out the space to municipal or civic, or, they could rent themselves out to all different sorts and all different kinds of groups and organizations. They could be municipal, but they'll just charge them whatever the kind of fair market rent is. That's awesome. I have an uncle who's a Freemason, as well as both of my grandfathers and my father. So, well, I think you're kind of confusing civic with civil, Alamo. Civic is community engagement. So you can have a private property that is part of the civic community. In fact, by definition, it would have to be. Civil is the government, right? And the relationship between the individual and the government. But again, if you have space and the municipality or the government needs to use it for something, I mean, a good example of that would be last election in Canada. The Essex Masonic Temple in Essex used the space for voting. It was a voting place. So that is a civic and a piece of private property and a part of the civic community being used for civil purposes. That's good. I mean, some are struggling a lot more than others. Prices are going up, costs are going up. It really just depends, right, on what the lodges can or can't do. But as numbers drop, you're definitely in the place where we need greater streams of income. We need to look at fundraising, things like that, because everything's getting more expensive, and there comes a point where it's very hard to pay for your dues. Okay, guys, we are going to take a quick break. I'm going to give you this, my good friend here, because I need to run downstairs and get my laundry out. The problem with having so much on the go is whenever I have something like a stream, I also have to do my laundry at the same time. Be back in a moment. And of course, I forgot to grab my wallet because I need to pay for the laundry. All right, I'll be back again in 1 second. Yes, no noise in the wheelchair. It's nice. No more rattling. Okay, we are back. Thank you, everybody, for holding on. We got Stick the Bird Fins. Is there any hope you can give us that the government can still work for the people? Keep in mind, the government is people as well. I worked in the government actually for many years. Government is people. They're human beings. They're no different than any other human beings, despite what the conspiracy theories may say. So this argument of like they're working against the people, at a certain point, they're working against their own interests. Now, I get it, and I understand the argument. I do, which is like it doesn't actually whatever these arguments are. Like the rich have access to corridors of power and insider trading, and they have a way to advance their interests at the expense of common people. But I think the typical government worker is a typical bureaucrat, civil servant making 60 to 80 grand a year, maybe 100 at the most. They're not out there like running the world on, Elon Musk's private yacht. All right, guys, we're going to give it a bit of time. We're going to see who joins. Thank you again to everybody who took the time to be here. And don't forget, we're going to have a lot of stuff happening this weekend. We got some wrestling happening. And so there's no, the typical 1 p.m. schedule might be different tomorrow. And I might have some other social media stuff done on Saturday. So just be prepared. Follow me on social media. That way you'll know what I've got going on. And if you live in Windsor or Essex, March 28th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., we have got the very fun and very exciting, I can't wait for it, Square and Compass Community Fair. I have no idea if he was or wasn't, but I'm sure Perry Mason, wasn't he an actor? I actually know who he was. Whether he's homosexual or not is irrelevant to whether he's a good man and honorable. Well, don't use the term big boy because that's strange. That's a very good life lesson, Xavier Andrew. Um, I mean, I've had a lot of different lessons through life. I think maybe my biggest life lesson, at least the one I'm constantly forcing myself to relearn, is the value of temperance. It's incredibly easy, I think far too easy when things are going well to become presumptuous and to assume that things will always go well. And when things are not going well, to assume that things will always go badly, right? What we need to be able to do is recognize and understand that just because things are going badly today doesn't mean they're going to keep going badly. And by the same token, just because things are going well today doesn't mean they're going to keep going well tomorrow. You need to learn to roll with the punches, which I think is very valuable advice. I'd say my biggest lesson Masonically is we cannot ignore what's happening in the world from Freemasonry. One of our biggest mistakes, I think, within Freemasonry over the last forever, maybe, but certainly 30, 40 years, is this attitude that, oh, like if there's economic troubles in a country, that it's irrelevant to Freemasonry or to the Masonic experience. And it's just not. It's just not the case. So that would be my biggest lesson about Freemasonry. I think it's something we in Freemasonry need to learn. Whether I'm gay or straight is irrelevant to being a good man and honorable. That's the most important thing. I am. I've been a Freemason for about 20 years. The purpose of this channel is to talk about the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located, and to share stories of Masonic interest. I don't really like to think about Freemasonry in terms of levels. I don't think that's the best way to think about it. You think about it as degrees and offices, right? That's the way you should be thinking about it. So I am a third degree Master Mason, which is the highest degree within Freemasonry. I'm also a 18th degree Scottish Rite Mason, which I'm grateful for as well. I'm also the worshipful master of the lodge, so which is my office. Xavier, are you a subscriber? Please hit like, please hit subscribe. I would be much obliged. No, I hate that. I hate those terms. They drive me crazy. I think this whole like red pill, blue pill, it's dumb. Just try to be a good person. That's all. That's all you need to do. Don't worry about being red pilled or blue pilled or whatever it is. It's silly. Think about subscribing. Okay, yeah, if you don't want to, I'm still grateful that you're here, whether you decide to or not. What about the immigrants coming over? They can, whether you're immigrant or not, you can be good and honorable. And I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, every country kind of will decide its exclusive and its own kind of immigration policy, but that's a political question, not a Masonic question. Okay, and thank you for being here. I try to be real. I think in general, when it comes to social media, that is something that we all have to kind of try our best to be, which is as real as possible, right? Some support it, some don't, which is fine, right? Not everybody has to support what I do. Um, some Masons support it, some Masons don't. I would say in general, though, I mean, the people who liked me before I started the channel still like me and still support the channel. The people who didn't like or support me before I started this channel still don't like me. But I don't need to be liked by everybody. I just need to do what I think is best for Freemasonry. And, that's all you can do. At the end of the day, you focus on what do you think is best, and then you go out and you try to do it. And you let the chips fall where they may. There really isn't much else you can do. There isn't a connection between the Freemasons and the devil. So there may be a conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists who think that there is a connection between the Freemason and the devil, but unfortunately, there's not much you can do about that. The conspiracy theorists are going to say what they want to say regardless of what you do. Our responsibility is to live our life in such a way as to try to demonstrate to the world that there is no connection. And if they choose not to believe, then so be it. They choose not to believe. And some of you are on the fence as well. I mean, I think we've had a lot of successes and a lot of setbacks with this channel. I know a few people who've been on this channel have joined Freemasonry since finding it, and that's something I'm grateful for. I've been able to travel, I've been able to spread Freemasonry or talk about Freemasonry. I don't like the term spreading because it sounds too much like proselytizing. But on the other hand, there's been some setbacks to the channel as well, which is fine. At the end of the day, you decide what you think is best, and then you go for it. Live life on your own terms, not on somebody else's. Scottish Rite Library Temple. I mean, I would be very hesitant, Alamo, in terms of whether that's the case or not. Like, real estate prices are crazy right now. It's very hard to gauge because people just don't have a lot of money. I mean, it's going to have to go to a major organization. Hello, Sunny from Australia. And also, they wouldn't make the money. The money would go to the organization, not the individuals. I would love to visit Freemasonry in Australia. That would be incredible. But how is the RSA doing? I hope it's going well. I hope you're doing well also. It'd be fun to visit Australia one day, but it's like a 7 million hour flight to get there. But there's a lot of really cool Freemasonry in Australia. So believe me, it's on my list. And again, you're not wrong, Alamo. It really sucks to lose a Masonic building, especially if it's one that your family has a connection to. But unfortunately, also sometimes it's necessary. And without knowing all the details and information, it's very hard for me to judge one way or the other. I mean, a lot of buildings are being lost. So you kind of have to figure it out as best you can. We're just giving it a bit of time. We're going to wait to see who joins. Once again, thank you for being here. Okay. Well, Well, I appreciate you being here very much. 12 State, welcome back. Once again, keep in mind 33rd, while they're a wonderful part of the craft and I'm grateful for them, being a 33rd degree does not mean you're necessarily any higher than a third degree, any higher, thank you for the flower, any higher than Knights Templar or Potentate. Freemasonry, it does not have ranks in that sense. Um, well, I mean, I appreciate you loving me, Benjamin. I appreciate the flower, but love people in your real life, not on YouTube. How long of a trip was that, Dad, to sail from Sydney to England or Newcastle or the other way around? I'm assuming it would have taken what, a couple weeks? 12 state. Well, I mean, it depends who you ask, but the simple answer is no. So what happened is, excuse me, the Knights Templar was an organization. It was kind of a combination military, economic, religious order that existed from approximately 1200 to, if I recall correctly, from the 12th century to 1307, when famously on Friday the 13th, the Pope and the King of England ordered it to be ended and burnt many of the Knights Templars at the stake. They ordered 66 them, if you're a fan of Star Wars. Freemasonry developed 400 years later. However, in 1737, a Freemason he was Scottish Freemason, but he lived in France. His name was Chevalier Andrew Raymond. He famously made a speech in which he claimed that actually Freemasonry had evolved from the Crusaders of the 11th and 12th centuries. That was taken to mean the Knights Templars. Did I say King of England? I meant King of France, excuse me. The Pope and the King of France, excuse me. Order 66 them. And he made a claim that Freemasonry was an unbroken chain from the Crusaders, which was taken to mean the Knights Templars, to Freemasonry. However, he made that speech in 1737. At that time, the Knights Templars had been outlawed in Europe since 1307. Many of them had all of them had been either ordered put to death by the King of France and the Pope, or had fled, and they would have been dead many centuries by that point. So I've always taken that to be an apocryphal story. I think the Brother and the Mason simply looked back historically, saw within the Knights Templars and the Crusaders symbols, ideas, and thoughts that iconography, lessons that he believed were applicable to Freemasonry and could be a benefit to Freemasons, and as such, decided to claim a direct historical link. It did result in the development of the York Rite, as well as the Scottish Rite in some ways, but I don't believe that there's a literal link from the Knights Templars, the military, economic, theological order of, that ended in 1307. I don't believe there's a direct link between that organization and the Freemasonry of the Premier Grand Lodge of England in 1737. I mean, I'm not going to knock Masonic leadership anywhere as someone who's been not a direct Masonic leader, but like to think I've taken on some leadership roles within Freemasonry. It's very, very hard. So I don't think we can necessarily judge. At least I'm not comfortable judging because I don't know enough about the situation. Um, we got a pirate in the chat. Did you ever had a? I've had a dream that you will hit the like button and the subscribe button. Did you ever? So there's that. I mean, again, you're assuming they're getting rewarded for it. I don't know who's getting the reward, but okay. Another fraternal order. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, the Knights Templar is definitely a fraternal order, and again, it would probably seem really cool to conflate the two, because there's the adventure aspect of it. There's the idea of being part of history. You get to travel. You get to see all these things. I mean, it makes sense why people would find it so cool, but it's also and why Masons in the 17th century would want to find a connection between the two. But I'm not sure if I would I mean, again, I think it's a chicken and the egg thing. I think it's an apocryphal story. Having said that, though, Alamo City, I mean, if you care about the building, which it sounds like you do very much, then by all means, I hope that you're successful in your attempts, to go to the city council. You certainly will always have the right to present on anything that you want to present on at city council when it comes to the city and the cultural and historical legacies within the city. Sunny, how long have I been a Freemason? I've been a Freemason for just about 20 years. It's crazy to think it's been that long. I joined Freemasonry in 2007, which is nuts. So, yeah. And Vasile, there are many Freemasons who are Christians, so he is. And I mean, look, I hate to see Masonic buildings be sold. My hope is if it is sold, and I can't speak to it because I don't know much about the context, but if it is sold, whomever purchases it will use will maintain the facade, will maintain the unique historical features of it being a Masonic temple. I think that would be really, really cool. Um, and I think, there's a many Masonic buildings throughout the world that are not currently being used for Freemasonry, but due to heritage requirements, whatever it might be, are nonetheless like identifiable as Masonic. Studio recording in Los Angeles, the Hollywood Masonic Temple, which is where the Jimmy Kimmel Show films out of Los Angeles as well. Those are just a couple examples. Albert Street in Toronto, right? All of these places, because of, amongst other reasons, because of heritage requirements and heritage rules, maintains the original facades, and on those facades, in many cases, the original Masonic iconography and Masonic symbolism. Even the Nederlander Theater in Chicago is another great example of that. So Mr. Keeps, think you're going to be joining us on the 28th? Don't forget, March 28th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's going to be a blast. So nothing. I mean, I know what you're saying, Sonny, but I do want to. I do want to be clear. Nothing makes you join Freemasonry. In fact, within Freemasonry, one of the biggest things we always talk about is joining of your own free will and accord, which I think is a really important thing to keep in mind. If somebody or something makes you join outside of something within yourself, then you shouldn't be joining Freemasonry. Now, having said that, I chose to join Freemasonry because my dad was a Freemason, and so I always assumed sooner or later I would join. And I enjoyed it. I remember going to the Christmas parties. It just seemed like something I would enjoy. But the bigger question isn't so much whether I about me joining. The bigger question is what made me stick around and remain active in it. And, that's because there's something about Freemasonry that spoke to me. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, Mr. Palad. If you want to find out about this stuff, you got to join Freemasonry and then you'll know. I never speak specifically. I always just say there's nothing in Freemasonry in terms of these rituals or ceremonies that are illegal, immoral, or against one's civic, religious, or familial responsibilities. Thank you, Sunny. I hope if you're not done so yet, Sunny, you'll hit the like button and you'll hit the subscribe button. And thank you so much for being here. And have you heard about Freemasonry before this channel? And if so, what did you think about it? I only know about, okay, both my grandfathers were Freemasons, as is my father. So I, I think very often when we have these family connections, and this is a good lesson and a good thing we need to keep in mind when it comes to being a Freemason, right? If people know that we're a Freemason, it could be our kids, our grandkids, our friends, community members, right? If people know that we're a Freemason, it's incredibly important that as much as possible, I'm trying to think of what the word is, we act in a manner that will bring credit to the craft, right? Because I don't know your grandfather, I'm assuming he was good people, right? Good grandfather. My dad, my grandfathers were good people. If we're not acting like good people to our family, if we're not acting good in the community, that is going to eventually start to reflect negatively on Freemasonry as a whole. So we need to keep in mind and we need to remember that. And yeah, let's give it a bit of time. Let's see who joins. Because tomorrow's stream is likely going to be very quick, I'm not doing any major discussion points today, or, today is kind of the Friday stream. There's no specific topics, just hanging out, chatting about whatever. I hope to see everybody who can make it March 28th between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. at the Windsor Masonic Temple, 986 Olette Avenue. As of right now, Trump says it's up to Iran to convince U.S. to end the war. That's one way to put it. Oil prices are rising again. We're getting close to $4 gas right now. $4 a gallon in the States. But we're going to give it some time and see who joins. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. I'd be much, much obliged. Nice. That's very cool. And again, that's just a sign of, when you're out there acting however it is in the world, you're not simply you, right? You're representing the craft. That's why when I talk about traveling, right, one of the things I talk about so often is how important it is within Freemasonry to represent the craft well. So when you're traveling, make sure you show up to the airport on time, which could be hours and hours and hours and hours early at this point. Have your documentation ready. Have your your vaccinations up to date. Make sure your passport is good. Make sure that you're respectful to the flight crew and staff and everybody else involved in getting you where you need to go. TSA agents who are overworked and not even underpaid, just not paid at this point, because you're representing the craft at every point. And especially for me, I travel for Freemasonry. If it is that I am not able to If I travel somewhere and I'm a jerk and people recognize that, suddenly I reflect badly on Freemasonry as a whole. All right, I'm just going to wait for a bit more, see who joins. Once again, please take a moment, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I hope you guys are doing well, and thank you for being here. Sorry, sheep, we do not worship the devil. Freemasonry, it's not a religion, right? So by saying it's not a religion, what that means is we're not worshiping the devil or devils or any of that jazz, right? That's not what Freemasonry is all about. What's this? Maybe there isn't a secret handshake. You're not going to find out unless you join Freemasonry. What you're referring to in general are called modes of recognition. There are different types of modes of recognition. They could be handshakes, they could be other things. I'm not going to tell. That is one of those examples of a family secret. And because it's a family secret, I'm not going to share it. Rather, you're expected to join and find out that way, or just don't know. It's no different than if my grandmother's recipe for cookies went down from grandmother to mother to me to my son, whatever it might be. I'm not going to share the ingredients of the family recipe. Um, I don't worship the devil indirectly. I don't worship the devil directly. So, no, I do not know to what you are referring. There's no such thing within Freemasonry as elite. I mean, you could argue there are elite Masons in the sense that they're very good at the ritual, or they show up a lot, or they practice a lot. But that's not the same thing by any means as saying that Freemasonry is for the elites or there's an elite handshake. That's not how it works. Right? Freemasonry is about equality, it's about the level, it's about everyone being together. So there are, Freemasons who are plumbers, who are worshipful masters, who have more rank and more and a greater office than, let's say, heck, a prime minister, right? It's not judging people on external qualifications, the internal. What truly makes somebody, elite is the internal qualifications, not their external qualifications. Thank you, Sunny. I'm glad you find it interesting. I appreciate being here very much. And I'm glad you find it interesting. All right, just going to keep hanging out, wait to see who joins. Again, I'll probably be doing a stream at 1 a.m. tonight, but keep in mind, we're very busy. We got a lot of stuff on the go. So I got my wrestling shows Friday and Saturday. That's going to be really fun. I've got a lot of stuff rocking out. And I'll do my best to keep on posting on social media throughout this weekend so you can keep up to date with what I'm doing. I am not a low-level anything. I've been a Mason for 20 years. I've traveled around the world. I'm also a worshipful master of the lodge. There are no real Masonic secrets. Every Masonic secret, whether you're getting it in the first degree or the third degree, or whether you're getting it as a worshipful master, or whether you're joining the Scottish Rite or the York Rite, all of them are equally valid, right? You need to keep that in mind. Are there are there Masonic emojis? I mean, I've seen the two things with the G in the middle. I'll have to check it out at some point. No, sheep, that's not the case. I think when you say the light bearer, you're referring to quote unquote Lucifer. I think you're referring to morals and dogma, but that shows you don't understand morals and dogma and what morals and dogma means, right? Or what its relevance or lack of relevance is within Freemasonry. Albert Pike was one gentleman. He was not there is no single leader within Freemasonry. He was certainly influential within Freemasonry, but primarily in the Southern Masonic jurisdiction and in Scottish Rite. He was not, telling other Masons what to think. More Than Dogma is a book of his personal Masonic philosophy. It is not a book that actually has any type of power of force or law or orders or regulations about Freemasonry. Maybe I don't understand dieting. Hello, the Scottish Bolshevik. I mean, I'm not American, I'm Canadian, but I've said many times Canada is the greatest country in the world, in part because we have the greatest neighbors in the world. I love my American neighbors. I find many of them are not ignorant at all. Having said that, the political situation in the States, within Freemasonry, one of the things we're not allowed to discuss is politics or religion. So, I don't think Albert Pike was bad. I just think he had his own opinions on things, which people have now taken to apply to Freemasonry as a whole, which is a mistake. There is no such thing as an Epstein Mason. So I don't know what that even means. Epstein was not a Freemason himself, at least not to my knowledge. And I've never seen any evidence that he was. There is no such thing as an Epstein Mason. I feel like I have once upon a time. I don't know when. But it sounds familiar. I mean, I will say barbecue sauce is always great. I love barbecue. I love barbecue chicken. We here in Windsor we used to have this place called Tunnel Barbecue. It's gone now. I miss it because it had some incredible barbecue sauce. It was so good. I mean, I'm not a huge Chick-fil-A fan. I'm from Canada, right? So I don't get it a lot. Cane's is good. I don't get Cane's a lot either, but Cane's is good. I have no idea what any of the things you're saying mean, sheep, but you need to reconsider from whence you are getting your information. No, Jason, and you know I don't like ketchup, especially not on hot dogs. That's almost a bannable offense right there. Ketchup should never be placed on a hot dog. Just for the record. And you know I would say that, so boo earns to you. And it's good for you. It's high protein. I mean, I'm not a dietitian, but I do like chicken a lot. I think also it's good for you depending on the extent to which and um, how you cook it, right? I'm sure, a piece of grilled chicken is probably better for you than deep fried chicken. People will say hot dogs are great. I love hot dogs. In summer, there's nothing better than a hot dog on the barbecue. And Haley, we are definitely at the space now where that type of stuff matters with the cost of everything increasing because fuel is increasing. Knowing what's a good deal and knowing how to get the most bang for your buck is pretty important. Nothing is cheap nowadays, in fairness, but hopefully we can see things be a little bit more comfortable. That's the Freemasons need to keep in mind, especially when you're talking about refreshments and doing things after lodge, right? It's very hard you got to budget. You got to budget really carefully. I mean, I'm Canadian, so I guess I would say Canada first, but even then, I'm not a fan of that term. I mean, thinking about going through the um, you know, just a pan with olive oil and butters indeed. I'm not a big fan of this idea of one first versus another thing first. Like if I was in the schoolyard and I'm wheeling around the schoolyard and I'm saying it's Cameron first, I think that that's like who's going to want to be my friend? Why would anybody want to be my friend if all I'm ever saying is, oh, it's me first, it's me first, it's me first? We're part of a community, we're part of a world, and we have to respect the fact that we cannot hope that we need to understand and remember just because somebody like yes, we want to prioritize ourselves, I guess, but not to such an extent that we allow the rest of the world to burn, right? I don't want that at all. So I don't like the term any country first. I think we should instead think about how can we all together create the best world possible for everybody, from wherever we live to wherever needs help. But they're still so good. All right, how about no more cap locks, sheep? Because it's getting a bit much. I mean, grilled chicken with olive oil and butter is really good. I'm a member of a Masonic Lodge in Israel, actually, Lodge Holy Land number 50, and proud of it. I think it's awesome. So, I mean, you can always say of a political system, I think, or the politics are good or bad. I think that's completely fair. The individuals, though, I mean, individuals are individuals. Some are good, some are not so good. Even bad individuals can become good over time. I think Freemasonry teaches us people change. So, well, take off your cap locks. How about that? Olive oil shouldn't be heated, only cold is beneficial. I mean, don't a lot of people heat up their olive oil when they're cooking with it to grill or whatever it might be? ZJ, none of that is true. Freemasonry is not Judaism of any sort. I mean, we have Jewish members, but we also have Christian members and Hindu and Sikh and Muslim. Freemasonry is not Kabbalistic. I don't even know what rabbinical means. I think it means run by rabbis, which it's not that either. If you want to argue Freemasonry is occult or is not occult, I mean, that's fine. Um, what makes something occult is just means that there's hidden elements to it. So your bank account would be occult information by definition, right? Well, it's very aggressive keeping your stuff all in caps. So that's why I don't answer usually. I don't mind sometimes if people have things in all caps, but if it keeps happening, I tend to ignore it. Peanut butter is good for you. Yes, good protein. I am not going to say what the oath I take within Freemasonry is, other than, I've said this a million times, there's nothing in any Masonic obligation or oath that is illegal, immoral, or against one's civic, religious, or moral responsibilities. Greetings indeed, Spirit. The reason I don't share the oaths, I've taught this before, is because it's like a family recipe, right? If you have a family recipe that goes from your great grandmother to your grandmother to your dad to you to your son to his daughter, whatever it is, I'm not going to share that family recipe with the public because maintaining the privacy of the recipe is the way that you maintain the bonds between the family. In the same way, it's nothing illegal and it's not as though, um, you know, I would be in trouble for sharing the recipe. It's just something I choose not to do. Freemasonry is exactly the same thing. We have our rituals. They're passed down from generation to generation. If I share them with other people, the consequence is it makes the shared experience of Freemasonry less shared and the relationships suffer. So there you go. It's also not a cult because Freemasonry does not separate anyone from their family, their friends, or their religious beliefs. In fact, or from their work. You're expected to put those things first. Also, Freemasonry does not have unquestioned doctrines. It's democratic in nature, both in its doctrines and its leadership. And Freemasonry does not venerate individuals. So that is why it is not a cult. Albert Pike, the most annoying man in Freemasonry. Albert Pike is a writer. He wrote Morals and Dogma. He was born in Boston but lived in Nebraska, if I recall correctly. He was the commander of the Scottish Rite Southern Jurisdiction. He was not the leader of Freemasonry. There is no single leader within Freemasonry. He was at most the leader of Southern Scottish Rite, but even then, that doesn't make him the leader of Freemasonry as a whole. And he wrote a book in which he gave his own thoughts, opinions, and philosophies on Freemasonry, which we as Freemasons are free to accept or dissent from based on what seems to us to be true or not true. What peanut butter do I like? Any type. On a bagel. Eartha Kitten? I like that name. Am I reading a script? Fair enough. Eartha Kitten, good afternoon. How could I read a script? I don't know what you're going to say to me. He did not write a manual for Freemasonry. He wrote a philosophical treatise on Freemasonry, and it was his ideas on Freemasonry, right? It was not, you need to keep that in mind, it was not a manual. I've never at any point had to read from, Albert Pike during any craft lodge degrees, during any Masonic meetings. Sometimes in Canada it pops up as part of rituals in Scottish Rite, but then again there's also Northern Masonic jurisdiction, which does not really use Albert Pike much. So, what's a good Canadian food? I mean, most people would say poutine. I mean, I don't think he was a bad man. I just think he had his own opinions. I mean, I definitely think he had a lot of not good ideas. He was also, he was famously racist, and part of the Confederacy, but it seems like later on in his life, he started to reconsider his ideas and his racist ideas towards Black people, actually speaking somewhat positively of Prince Hall Freemasonry, which is a very interesting point. No, Freemasonry does not say that. Freemasonry says, ZJ United, that individuals are free to believe what they wish and to take whatever path they wish when finding their God. And in terms of which one is ultimately correct or incorrect, Freemasonry has no say in it. So I'm not going to tell any Mason that, or anybody that there is a correct religion, because I don't know. It's not my place. I guess I'll find out when I leave this mortal coil, and I'll see what happens. But it's a civic organization. I mean, it's no different than, let's imagine I go to court of law. I may swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth on a Bible, or I may use a Quran, or I may use a Torah. The church is not stating one religion is correct or proper, or there's many paths to the same outcome. Rather, it's saying it's not our place to tell anyone what they should or shouldn't believe. Now, if I go to a church, absolutely the church would be within its rights to tell me this is the correct religion, and if you don't believe it, you're an incorrect religion, but that's not the place of Freemasonry. Sheep, at least you had one word without cap locks, but you need to get more cap locks off. You'd have to ask every Freemason. Freemasonry has no doctrinal or theological teachings on any religious figure. Many Freemasons are Christians. So they would believe that Jesus would be what? The Trinity incarnate? Um, I don't know if God said that, but all human beings will die, at least on our mortal coil. Now, whether you believe there's life after death and what that looks like, and salvation, damnation, that's a question for your religious leadership, not Freemasonry, right? They are Christians, right? I would say it's not your place to say who is and who isn't a Christian. Um, So again, Apple Tree, I've known many Catholics who are Freemasons. Now, technically, I believe the church's ruling as of present is um, if you are a Freemason, you are not able to take communion within the church. Having said that, I've known many Catholic Freemasons. I believe they still take their communion. It depends on the extent to which the rules are being enforced and what that looks like. Um, Sorry, I've known many. I mean, Catholicism again has its rules, but I've known many Catholic Freemasons. So, I mean, if you're a Christian, it's the Bible's place to say, but it's not my place to say. Damien Sandow is an awesome wrestler and a Freemason. Um, I don't think you can build a tower to heaven. I don't think heaven is a place that can be reached by physical means, but we shall see. Well, sheep, first of all, get rid of the cap locks. Second, my beliefs on Jesus are separate from me being a Freemason. The two are not connected, right? It's like asking, what are my beliefs on Jesus since um, what are my beliefs on Jesus since I eat steak? One is not connected to the other. Again, if you're a Freemason, you can be Christian. To be a Freemason, you must believe in a supreme being. And there are many Freemasons who believe in Jesus, but there are many who might be Muslim or Hindu or Sikh. It's not my place to tell anybody what their belief should be. My supreme being is the rational nature of the universe as expressed through geometry. So, yeah, there you go. I've never heard any Freemason say you can build a tower to heaven. ZJ, you do not know what you're talking about. You spend way too much time looking up nonsense on social media. You need to really consider the things you're looking up and the things you're looking at. Um, I've never seen any Freemasons say we're going to build a tower to heaven. Now, again, individual Masons will have their own beliefs in the afterlife. Freemasonry itself makes no promises of salvation, nor does it make any threats of damnation. Whether I am smart or not, I have no idea where back, but I try to be. Eartha Kitten, they are, unfortunately. Packer fan, because a lot of, I mean, I've never met any Catholic priests who are Freemasons. I would be surprised because obviously the Catholic Church itself is not supportive of Freemasonry. So once you get to a leadership role in the church, it strikes me as the Catholic Church is probably not going to like that. But it's one of those things where what can you do? I do have a massive brain in here. I mean, okay, I don't know what that means, ZJ. What does that mean for your day-to-day life? Like, you have a secular job, I'm assuming. You take part in secular activities, I'm assuming. I've been connected to many lodges. I'm a member of 5 Masonic lodges so far. So what does that mean, ZJ United? How can, for example, how could you as a Christian be a doctor? Because for a doctor, you must take the Hippocratic Oath. How could you join um, how could you join the military or the police forces, all of which require the taking of oaths, or go to court where you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Um, yes, Bandit is doing very well. Thank you. Well, but again, if you just say no oaths is no oaths, what does that mean? What about doctors, military personnel, police officers, government workers, all of whom have to take oaths? I was born with many foreheads. Were you born with the ability to hit the like and subscribe button? Again, I don't give specifics. You got to join to find out. But there's nothing within any of my oaths that are illegal, immoral, or against one's civic, religious, or familial responsibilities or illegal. So there you go. Again, having a family recipe that you maintain private within the family does not make the family a cult, right? So, you can think what you want. You're wrong, but you can think what you want. Yeah, I mean, it depends where you are, right? What I've always found is within who is training me to say that. You're a very foolish person, and a dumb person. I mean, Alamo, yeah, what you see very often is Freemasonry simply reflects I didn't take an oath to the brotherhood, I took an oath to myself. Every oath is one you take to yourself, to be fair. Um, like if you're in a community which is, let's say, 90% Catholic, then 90% of the lodge will be Catholic. If you're in a community or a city which is 90% Protestant, 90% of the lodge will be Protestant. I mean, Freemasonry normally reflects the lodge in which it's located more so than anything else. So you just need to keep that in mind. Um, for example, like in the Philippines, in South America, there are many Catholic Freemasons because Catholicism is a much more prominent religion. Whereas in America, I think it was much more Protestant, so there were many more Protestant Freemasons. Um, I mean, it's a civic organization. It's not meant to be religion, nor is it meant to be parasitical with religion. It's a separate thing. They occupy separate spaces. It is very true. Welcome, by the way, everybody who's here, please don't forget March 28th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We are having our community services fair at the Windsor Masonic Temple. I cannot wait to attend. It's going to be a blast. Um, I'm very much looking forward to it. Yes, Freemasonry is not a religion. Again, they occupy different spaces, right? So it's really important to keep that in mind. It doesn't have beliefs. I mean, I've always said before, the way to think about Freemasonry is ethics, right? It does cost money because it self funds. So I pay dues. The dues are anywhere from $25 a year American up to $250. It depends on the lodge. Darth Clorox. I'll get to your question in 1 second. Well, I mean, ethics based on the organizational principles. So the example I always use is football. Imagine you're a football player. You are going to develop ethics as a consequence of playing football if you're doing it right. Those will include and be not limited to teamwork, practice, sportsmanship, physical health and fitness, being there for others, being coachable. Freemasonry, the ethics you develop are things like tolerance, respect, temperance, showing up on time, caring about the people around you, charity. You also develop skills in things like memorization, meeting management. So there you go. Um, well, the organizational principles of the lodge itself, right? The lodge, for example, is democratic. So you learn about the ethics of persuasion as opposed to force. If you have an idea and you want to see it implemented, you can't force it. You have to rather try to get it voted on by the lodge, which means you have to learn about the value of working with others, persuasion, trying to work with people who have different beliefs than you. You probably learn the value of tradition and history, and charity and tolerance. There's the Order of Eastern Star, which is an appendant body within Freemasonry and a very valuable part of Freemasonry. There's also the Order of Women Freemasons out of England, and there's also Co-Masonry, which is out of France, but it's not recognized. Darth, don't think about it in terms of levels. It's degrees and it's offices. I am a third degree Master Mason, and I am also 18th degree Scottish Rite. I'm also the Worshipful Master of Border Cities Lodge, number 554. I don't want to reflect the whole. I think one of the greatest things about Freemasonry, Alamo City, is the fact that I don't reflect the whole. And I'm grateful for that, because Freemasonry is about universal tolerance. I don't reflect the whole in terms of the languages spoken in Masonic lodges, the color of the skin, the ethnicity, the background, the age, the occupations, the religion. I am not 33rd degree. But Darth, you asked above. Yeah, but titles aren't that important. What matters is, am I a good person, honorable, and true? Um, there's the UK shrine. There's a shrine around the world. That titles matter? I don't think titles should matter. I think the internal is more important than the external. Doesn't matter how I dress, how I look. What matters is, am I a good person? Now, from a religious perspective, the argument's going to be, is that enough for salvation into the afterlife? And that I can't speak to, because I'm not a theological expert. What I can tell you is, if you are my neighbor, whether you are a Christian, a Muslim, whether you are Jewish, whether you are Hindu, whether you are Sikh, you can be a good neighbor to me. And you can be a good part of the community. You can be a true and honorable neighbor. You can also be a true and honorable brother in lodge. Now, in terms of salvation and what happens after we die, that is not something Freemasonry can speak on, nor should it. That is something that you should speak to your supreme being about it. You should speak to your religious leadership about it. So if anybody came on the stream and asked me how to get into heaven, or people have actually asked me on the streams before, they've said, how do Freemasons get to heaven? And I said, Freemasonry is completely silent on heaven and the afterlife. It talks to you about how you can be ethical down here on earth. Up there, talk to your priest, talk to your rabbi, right? Mackenzie, thank you for that. I mean, that's a theological thing. I have no interest in taking any mark of any beast. Not necessarily interested in a one world government or anything like that. I don't really know what that means. I just want to be as good as I can to the people around me and supportive as I can to the people around me, and as charitable and as kind. I want everybody to say when I'm gone that I left the world a better place than when I was in it. In terms of what happens in the afterlife, I'm not equipped or possible to speak about that. It's separate from religion, ZJ. It's a separate thing from religion. No, we do not, because we're not a military order or a government, so we don't have nuclear capabilities. I mean, I can't speak to everywhere, but I can say here in Canada, I've known many Muslim people who give a lot to charity, as well as many Masons, as well as many Christians, which is not a religion, right? I'm not saying Freemasonry's religion, as well as the Rotary and the Elks. It just depends on the resources they have available to them. I find very often that's the deciding factor. Do I think God exists? So I believe in a supreme being. My supreme being is the rational nature of the universe as expressed through geometry and as expressed through science. LC, I am a third degree Master Mason. I'm also 18th degree Scottish Rite. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Again, I don't have a religion for my worldview. So that's not how it works. I don't know. What I think they prove is there's a rational order to the universe, which is my supreme being. Whether they prove a particular religious God or theological doctrine, I can't say. I've known many very charitable Muslims, absolutely. I think it's not that they prove the supreme being, it's that they are the supreme being. I don't know, ZJ, because I'm not Christian. So, I mean, I believe that there was a historical figure named Jesus who existed about 2,000 years ago in Judea. I think there's enough historical evidence that there was somebody. I'm not one who believes in the supernatural aspects of him, or the belief that, for example, someone can rise from the dead or a virgin birth, but that's my own personal opinion. Within Freemasonry, we're actually not allowed to discuss religion or politics in lodge. So there are many Christian Freemasons who actually believe Jesus, the Trinity and the doctrines of the Christian faith. Right, but I want people to remember this and understand this, because I don't want people thinking that religious discussions take place in a Masonic lodge. It's not the place for that. No different than, if I was talking about my employment, it's not the place to talk about religion in your workspace. Well, I'm Canadian, Supreme Council of Canada, which does take more of its stuff from the southern jurisdiction than the northern. I can only imagine what that answer is going to be to that question. I think, look, Allah to me is somebody who, again, was a prophet of the Muslim faith, seems to be a very smart individual. I don't believe in supernatural elements of it, but I think I know enough Muslims who who live good lives, that clearly they find many positive lessons within the Muslim faith. LC, welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope that you've hit the subscribe button and the like button. I would be much obliged. If you haven't, please do so. And thank you for joining as always. Well, the argument, ZJ, would be there's a single God of some sort. We just don't know what it is yet. Or not everybody agrees on what that is, I suppose. I suppose you could argue one has to be correct. I just don't know which one it is, and it's not my place to tell anybody, right? They need to come to their own understanding. It's not my place as a Freemason. It's also not my place, even if I wasn't a Freemason, to tell people whether they are correct or incorrect. Thank you, LC. That is much obliged. It's hard to describe, Darth, because it's not something I understand well myself. I guess what it means is, I don't believe in the supernatural or supernatural qualities, but I do believe that math and science and the rational nature of the universe, they create a framework through which we're able to judge our actions, through which the universe is made known to us, and through which it will favor us to the extent that we live in accordance with it. If I ignore the rules of science and try to jump off of tall buildings or fly off the ground by flapping my arms, or whatever else it might be, ultimately it's harmful. It's harmful to myself, and it's harmful to those around me. So to live in accordance with virtue is to live in accordance with scientific and rational principles. No, it's not Lucifer. I know many 33rd degrees. You're getting confused with Albert Pike. But do you get my point? I mean, that is a question that has been asked by philosophers, theologians, physicists, for that matter, for millennia, right? And I don't think I have the best answer. I'm not saying that we cease to exist when we pass from this, our mortal existence. I don't know what's going to happen to us when we pass away. I can't speak to it, right? What I can say is if you have those concerns, I hope that you will find your religious leadership. Thank you from UGLE. That's incredibly kind of you. I don't think anybody knows for sure, and that includes AI. Well, I'm not an expert, but I know the buzzwords, right? I like to think that even though I'm not an expert, I can at least give my opinion on things, just making sure I always remind people that these are my opinions. There are some things that are just facts that I'll talk about, like within Freemasonry, for example. It's a fact that the Premier Grand Lodge of England was formed June 24th, 1717. When you get into other things, though, it's my opinion on subjects. Well, I'm glad that you're back once again, Earth. Yes, I do remember you. Look, if you are struggling to find my channel, make sure that you turn on the notification bell when you subscribe. That way, whenever I'm streaming, you will find me. You'll find me once again. So, no, we don't want to claim the Knights Templar. I mean, we certainly claimed a lot of their iconography, but we also did that with Egyptian mysticism. We did that with Stoic philosophy. We did that with architectural orders. Um, I think most people understand it's a legendary tale that Freemasonry or the Crusaders evolved from the Knights Templar and not literal. Um, we never built Egypt. Well, stonemasons built Egypt. I mean, absolutely. I think you could argue stonemasons 100% built Egypt. Freemasonry did not exist until about 3,000 years after stonemasons built Egypt. So, you know. I don't know. I mean, some of it is probably legendary. I don't think we know how much of it is 100% true, how much of it is theological, how much of it is apocryphal, and, which hat you should be wearing at any given time. Um, but yeah, stonemasons absolutely built Egypt. Stonemasons also built Rome. They built Greece. I've said it a million times. You cannot separate the history of humanity from the history of stone. It was stone which allowed us to create tools, which allowed us to grow our diet. It was stone that allowed us to carve information to be passed down for centuries. It was stone that allowed us to build permanent structures, to develop new cultures and agriculture and store food. It was stone that allowed us to create monuments to our religious understandings of the Supreme Being. And it is stone that has continued to exist even after the wood and the paper and the words have gone away. Well, I mean, some people argue that the first stonemason was Nimrod, but he didn't use stone, he used clay and mud for bricks. Did Masons build the Ark? Well, the Ark was built out of wood, wasn't it? But what I'm suggesting is any cities that are primarily built of stone or rely on stone structures were built by stonemasons, operative masons. Not so much by Freemasons. Freemasons didn't exist until many centuries or millennia later. Um, I mean, maybe. I've heard some people argue the first stonemason was Nimrod, but I think it's questionable because um, he didn't use stone to build the tower. At least according to the Bible, he used bricks made of mud and clay and straw, right? The first stonemason was probably our ancient human ancestor, Australopithecus, I think was the name of it, who created the first stone tools on the African plain in, 3 million years ago? Something like that. It depends if I knew them or not. I'm not inherently opposed to letting an illegal stay in my place. I would just need to know. I don't like the term illegal. I'm not going to let anybody stay in my house, though, obviously. And that's true. Like, I'm for citizenship, but there are many Canadian citizens I wouldn't let stay in my house. Depends on who they are and how I know them. Well, giving opinions on whether someone who doesn't use stone to create bricks can be called a stonemason. Well, you're back, so clearly the band didn't take. AI looked up and said to me, I mean, that is a very common idea. I've heard that not just from AI. That was actually in Midnight Mass. Somebody said that I am the universe creating a memory of myself. So there you go. It's possible that, it's definitely, I think, possible that there's some truth to this idea of certainly like who we are was created, like our elements were created in the furnace of stars, right? Carbon was created in stars, iron, all the elements that make up who we are were not original to the universe. They were formed in stars. So in some ways, we are the universe creating a memory of itself. Well, the problem is, who is an expert on metaphysical things, right? And I know what I know. Oh, I think humans did the from dust we came, right? I mean, yeah, we are dust, which is probably a good reason to not take ourselves too seriously. And remember, we're not getting out of this life alive. Yeah, but you should also be careful. I think just because you can doesn't mean you always should. At least you should be incredibly careful. Um, so that's a good reason to be grateful to be here. Would I let an illegal person stay? Probably not. But by the same token, I wouldn't let a citizen live in my house if I didn't know them. It's not about at that point, it's not about their status. It's about my knowing or not knowing them. Yeah, ZJ. I mean, look, I'm very happy to have you here, but the idea of promoting religious beliefs, you're perfectly welcome to, but Freemasonry is not a religious organization or religious institution. You need to keep that in mind. You should start dressing like a Jedi in robes. Who wouldn't want to do that? Robes are awesome. Live your life on the edge. Well, just make sure you're using substances responsibly. This is becoming a very theological discussion we're having at the moment, which I enjoy. It's fun, but you need to, as always, keep in mind. I'm happy to talk about Freemasonry. If you're, I mean, it sounds like ZJ is a Christian, so more power to him. I think it's a very good hope, Darth Clorox, and I'm sure if it does exist, you'll make your way there. And sounds like you would deserve to be there. But if you want to know precisely how to get there, or if heaven exists, don't talk to me. Talk to your priest, your rabbi, your imam. Talk to your religious leadership. And we're going to keep on hanging out for a bit longer, wait to see who joins. Because I have professional wrestling this weekend, I have a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to get ready for that today. So what have you done to build housing for your citizens? I mean, I'm worried about housing shortages from a lack of building houses, period. Not, I don't think it's necessarily an immigration problem. I know the more people you have, obviously, one of the concerns is the less housing supply you have, demand goes up. So, demand goes up, supply remains stagnant, costs go up. But I think that falls then on the government and citizens to Create policies that incentivize the building of houses, not the reduction of immigration. I'm not building houses because I can't build a house to save my life. Believe me, if I built a house, it would fall down and I would get in trouble. So, don't look at me. I'm not a builder. I'm not a carpenter. I might be a Freemason, but that means I'm a speculative craftsman. I'm not an operative craftsman. No, sometimes that can be the case, null and void, but they're still welcome on this channel as long as anybody, as long as they don't start swearing or causing trouble or anything like that. Can be tough on these channels. I hope you'll hit the like button and the subscribe button if you've not done so yet. And remember, March 28th, 2026, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Community Services Fair at the Windsor Masonic Temple. If you can make it out, it'd be wonderful to have you. Mr. Bill, hello. So it sounds apple tree, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds apple tree like you're a little bit of maybe Wiccan, Wiccan. You talk about mother as the temple. That sounds a little bit like Wiccan philosophy to me. I could be mistaken. Mr. Bill, hello. How's it going? Thank you for being here. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Yeah, but it's something a lot of people believe in, and it encourages a lot of people to do a lot of good throughout the world. So, even that, ZJ, sounds a little bit like Wiccan kind of philosophies to me, having known a few Wiccans. The idea of speaking about the earth in the feminine terms as kind of like a actual being, an entity. So that's interesting. Well, the earth was definitely formed before us. I think both the Bible and just science would agree with that, right? The time frames can get a bit tricky, but I mean, I suppose ZJ, it's all about definitions, right? Like, without it, I mean, it nurtures us. Without Earth, we would not have food, sustenance, shelter, stone. So, as a provider, I mean, there's a reason why um, most cultures seem to refer to the Earth in the feminine sense as a provider. Um, right. So, but even calling it our sister, I mean, that implies, and that's a good point by Eartha Kitten. How can life be created without mother? Well, then presumably, though, it came from some type of genetic code that was somebody's mother once upon a time. All right, we're getting a bunch of people fighting in the chat, so everybody calm down a little bit with this stuff. The earth has a creator. So it sounds like you are one ZJ who is more, takes the Bible, I guess, literally. Because I know some Christians who take it as in like the 7 days are literally 7 days. I know others who take it more metaphorical, as in the 7 days represent epochs of time. It could be millions of years or even billions of years. Um, and the earth was formed through gravitational collection of matter, as opposed to being created out of whole cloth. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, maybe you're talking about cloning or artificial intelligence. I mean, I'd like to think that as a general rule of thumb, we should always be willing to give the benefit of the doubt to life, or at least what appears to be life. If something is artificially created or is a, I don't know, whatever it might be, is a clone or something, or created in a lab, I'm still gonna treat it as alive. I think the risks of treating it not as alive are very dangerous. Um, that is true. It was humans who built hospitals, but they built them through recognition of and recognizing the natural order in the universe. So I liked it a lot. I liked the pro science approach to it. What did you think of it, Douglas Marks? I really like Project Hail Mary a lot. It's interesting, though. We talk about religion and we imagine ourselves as being, kind of separate from religion. Look at the title, Project Hail Mary. Hail Mary is a religious term, right? It came from football now, but originally it was religious. But I like Project Hail Mary quite a bit. Surprised that Project Hail Mary is a religious term? No. I mean, it would always make sense to me. I mean, when I hear hail and when I hear Mary, I think religion. Mary, obviously. I don't know if it references Mary, the mother of Jesus, but it sounded always religious to me. Great performance by Ryan Gosling. It was really good. I mean, I think Project Hail Mary is probably going to do really well at the box office. I think it is. So I'm not so sure if I would say Hollywood is dead. I think I might want to reconsider that. I mean, everything goes in cycles, right? Everything goes in cycles. So, yes, there's some instances where Hollywood will struggle, but there are many others where things will go quite well for it. I think, and things change. I mean, maybe now the future of Hollywood is more streaming services. You're glad. I mean, I would never be glad that anything is failing ZJ United. Hollywood has provided a lot of people with a lot of jobs, a lot of entertainment, put a lot of kids through school, provided a lot of incredible architecture and memories. You don't want anything to be failing. You want it to be the best version of itself. And you also want to accept, though, that sometimes things do change. Sometimes things do sometimes things change for better or worse. You got to kind of roll with the punches. Hail Mary, full of grace. There you go. I don't think Hollywood is evil. I think that's pretty crazy. I mean, some people in Hollywood maybe, but that's human nature. There are some plumbers who are probably not good people. And there's also plenty of religious fare in Hollywood. I mean, look at The Chosen. Look at The Promised Land. Look at Passion of the Christ. And I think they're working on another one too, Resurrection of the Christ. Hello, High Altitude. Great to see you. Thank you for being here. It's been a while. How's your channel going? And everybody, if you get the chance, check out High Altitude Investments channel. CD, welcome. I hope you're doing well also. I'm not a Christian. I'm here talking about Freemasonry and promoting the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. Good, good. I'm glad to hear it. Every now and then I see you pop up, which is a good sign. It means that you keep on working hard at it. So Keep up the good work. I mean, that's a political question. There are some Freemasons. I don't even know what it means to be for, like, for the state, for a two-state solution to Palestine, for the people. I'm obviously for the people of Palestine. I don't want anybody injured or killed. Uh, you know, are you 33rd? I'm not 33rd degree Mason. So I'm not sure what it means to be. It's like saying Freemasons for Israel. What I'm for is people, and I'm for ending these conflicts where people are being killed. It looks like to me for no reason. Um, what's my degree? I am a third degree Master Mason. I'm also 18th degree Scottish Rite. I cannot cut a sirloin. No, Freemasonry is not a cult for a variety of reasons, but the main one I always point to is Freemasonry does not try to separate you from your family or your friends. Freemasonry does not try to separate you from those around you, or your work or your religion. It does not try to isolate. It also does not venerate individuals. It's democratic in nature. I would suggest you may want to just reconsider your life in general, ZJ. You can be Christian, but the cruelness and your kind of, I don't even know what to call it. Your attitude leaves much to be desired. I do not know who the God of 1,000 Names is. Um, my suspicion also is you're not leading a very good life if you feel the need to come onto other people's streams and talk a bunch of baloney. We're going to give this a bit more time, but then I've got to switch off the channel to get back to focusing on my events, getting ready for this weekend. You seem like not an expert on much, but okay. Don't forget I do these streams every Monday through Friday, 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. So I'm looking forward to those. And also make sure to follow me on social media. Well, YouTube is one of those things where it's not about the truth or not truth. It's just when it comes to YouTube, you have so many different opinions, all, it takes 45. So YouTube is everybody gets to talk, everybody gets to say. So you can spend 45 minutes on YouTube, you can spend an hour, you can spend 45 hours just talking about the most absolute nonsense on social media. It's not inherently going to get you kicked off the platform. And if what you're saying actually is controversial or brings people into it, you're going to get boosted, right? That's the challenge. YouTube is truth neutral. As a general rule, at least that's what I've found. Once again, please take a moment, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. I'd be most grateful. I mean, if you're able to make enough money for YouTube, I don't know if they're going to censor you, for the record. That is one of my issues, is I feel like YouTube does not do enough to control what's being said on its platform. I mean, I'm Canadian, so I did not vote in the American election. If I were to vote, this is me speaking, not Freemasonry, I would have voted for Kamala Harris. In Canada, I voted for Mark Carney. Oh, we got some hearts. That might be Smokey the Clown. If it is, welcome back. Maybe truth agnostic might be a better way to put it as well. Freemasonry, YouTube will say that it can't know the truth, so let all the opinions out. Maybe that's what it means. I don't think you can vote for that. I don't think that's a democratic thing. I think that's something you either believe or you don't believe. I don't know if that's up to democracy. I mean, I'd like to think my ancestors are fans of me, but I don't know. I suppose I'll find out when I make it upstairs, or up to whatever's above me, or who knows, maybe I'll head down. I hope not, though. Thank you, Earth. And make sure to be an active member. One thing you need to make sure you're doing is turning on your notification bell. That's incredibly important, right? By turning on the notification bell, you are going to never miss when I'm doing a new stream. So keep that in mind. I mean, isn't it the meek will inherit the earth? What's the Masonic lesson for this evening? Patience and temperance and tolerating people who are foolish, like ZJ. That is a very valuable lesson. He was a thank you so much, Earth. Who was a Freemason? Deep Alpha, I've been to Vancouver for 5 minutes in the airport, flying through Mexico. I would love to go back. I think it would be incredible. That's okay. I'm good with my wheelchair. I just got a new wheelchair. I don't need a new set of legs as well. I got my new chair. I'm all set. But thank you nonetheless for that. I mean, just because you're from Ukraine, you might not have the money to donate to Ukraine. I'm not sure what that means. Um, I'm from Canada. I don't know who you're referring to. All right, I think what I'm going to do is end this stream. Not that I'm not enjoying it as I always do. However, I do have a very busy weekend. So please keep up to date with what I'm doing. Keep paying attention to my social media accounts, my social media channels, because as I have new things happening and new things going on, you'll see me posting changes, posting new events, etc., etc. I should be back on at 1 a.m. today briefly, so you should see me then as well. Thank you, everybody who's here. Um, oh, I would think you would have money too. And I will talk to you guys later. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Earth. I'll see you guys all soon.